The story of Noah is pointing us to something bigger, something greater, someone greater. Noah points us to a salvation story that, not unlike this one, involves us starting over. A new human race and a new creation that comes from one righteous person. There are some wonderful clues about that found in this story. I have a prop today. I tried to find a picture that would go with this, but it couldn't find one. And so I had to break out this guy. Look, this is a bow. This is mine. There's no arrow in it. Don't freak out. Okay. This is a bow. If I pull it back. You don't want to be on the other end of this thing. Trust me. Scholars have long pointed out that the rainbow that's mentioned in the Noah narrative, the Hebrew word is actually war bow. God's war bow. Now, reread that. I will put my war bow in the sky, and you will know. The Baker Encyclopedia says this about the rainbow of Genesis. The normal Hebrew word for war bow is used. Jewish tradition interpreted this as a symbol that God's anger had ceased, since the rainbow pointed downward, just as an antagonist lowers his bow to declare peace. So if I was a warrior and I was declaring peace with you guys, I would turn the bow like this. It would be pointing at me, and you would go, okay, there's peace here. If you think about a rainbow, who's it pointed at? God. Pointed up. A Jewish rabbi has this to say about the war bow declaration. Noah's flood is compared to a war between God and mankind. This idea is seen in the symbol of a rainbow. After the flood, God showed Noah a rainbow as a sign that there would never again be a worldwide flood. The rainbow looks like an archer's bow pointing upwards toward heaven. The Ramban explains that the upside-down bow symbolizes that God no longer shoots arrows at the earth in the form of a flood, just as a warrior turns his bow toward himself as a gesture of peace. In this sense, the dove returning to the ark could be seen as a peace symbol, indicating that the war between God and man had ended. So peace had been declared between God and man. God is pictured as a mighty warrior, a victorious warrior who has used his bow to say there is peace. But it's a temporary peace. Because of sin, because of evil, the warrior God would raise his bow again. Let's turn to Matthew for a minute. This is Jesus on the cross. Matthew 27, verse 45. It's on the screen as well, but if you like to go there, Matthew 27, 45. I'll read. From noon until 3 in the afternoon, darkness came over the whole land. And at about 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is, my God, why have you abandoned me? When some of those standing heard this, they said, he's calling for Elijah. Immediately one of them ran and got a sponge, filled it with sour wine, put it on a stick, and offered him a drink. But the rest said, let's see if Elijah comes to save him. But Jesus cried out again with a loud voice and gave up his spirit. Suddenly, the curtain of the sanctuary was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth quaked, and rocks were split. The tombs were also opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And they came out of the tombs after his resurrection, entered the holy city, and appeared to many. When the centurion and those with him who were keeping watch over Jesus saw the earthquake and the things that had happened, they were terrified and said, "Truly, this man was the Son of God." So you get the picture of this judgment. You see, when these clouds came over, this was at noon to 3, the time when the sun should have been shining the brightest, and the clouds and a storm come out of nowhere and what that symbolizes is God's judgment. God's judgment, just like in the flood. This storm comes and just wipes out, uncreates the creation, decreates it. And what was going on with Jesus? He was experiencing the judgment of God on our behalf. Jesus took the arrow that we deserve from God's bow. The judgment of God fell upon the Son of God. Christ brought peace between God and man. You see, the author of Hebrews says, according to the law, almost everything is purified with blood. And without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness. God's a mighty warrior. And he's a judge, a righteous judge. There had to be bloodshed, and there was. And Jesus didn't shed blood and sprinkle it on the altar here. He went to the heavenly places and sprinkled it on that altar. And so there is forgiveness of sins for eternity for those who put their faith in Christ. We've been pardoned by Jesus' blood. There was only one ark in the flood, and there is only one way of salvation from the future judgment of God when he pulls out that bow one more time. And instead of sending a storm of water, it's going to be heat. And it says this creation is just going to kind of melt away, and only what is glory inside of it is going to remain. It's going to be a new creation, a new heavens, and a new earth. God's already worked out the details. So, if you haven't got on the ark, the time is now. That door is still open to get on the ark. And the ark is Jesus. By placing your faith in Jesus, you get a pass onto the boat. Do so today. What does it mean for Christians? We patiently and obediently wait for God to finish his work in our lives until the new heavens and the new earth become our new home. God's working in our lives right now. And sometimes that stuff he's doing, it takes a while. But when he's doing God-sized things, he does it according to his timeline. Is the Lord doing a work in your life? Be patient. Wait and trust. He's going to complete it. Fight the temptation to think that because you cannot see the results you're looking for, that you should try to do it on your own or give up waiting. We wait on the Lord. And after the next creation, think about the war bow. I mean, we're talking about God who picks up rainbows and uses them as archery. And he is the God of war, and he is the God of peace. And the new heavens and the new earth will be guarded by the warrior God, the God of peace, the God who he's not to be trifled with. Will be safe in the new heavens and new earth. Nothing bad gets into the holy city of eternity. No sin, no evil, no corruption. We're waiting, and while we wait, we learn what it means to be obedient and trust in the Lord on this earth, and what a place to learn patience and trust